Ooh, we back.
Hey!
Episode, whatever it is, we in here.
I'm excited. Welcome back to the Marriage Journal Revealed. I'm Crystal.
I am Justin Beard. No problem. I ain't got no beard, but we Justin Beard, Crystal Beard. And we're here, listen.
Yeah.
Today's topic, we're talking about love languages.
Yes.
The reason why we're talking about love, I'm gonna let you explain the conversation that we had with our friends and why we're bringing this up.
Okay, so we had a conversation with our friends. We were all talking about the different love languages, and there's, you know what? As a matter of fact, let's go over a few of them. So the ones that most people talk about often are acts of service, gift giving, words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch.
My favorite.
Yes. So we wanted to talk about, someone said what their love language was, and it was heard Justin say, I don't believe in love languages. And so he said he was going to kind of clear that up.
No, see, hold on, wait. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
It's not necessarily what you said. I think it's what the person heard.
Yeah. So what it is not that I don't believe in love languages. I don't believe a person have. Typically, the conversation is, what's your love language?
Yes.
Oh, this is my love language.
That's the question. Mm-hmm.
But we don't have just one love language. Because if you're neglecting the other love languages, you're still going to have friction in the relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I believe that depending on what time of the year, not necessarily I believe, I know for a fact. Yeah. No matter, depending on what time of the year.
Life situations,
what the time of the month. It all depends on all that, you know.
Yes.
As far as which love language you are desiring from me the most.
Yes, that's good.
And so, typically yours is acts of service or gifts. That's typically what yours is. But there's also times when, mine is, sometimes I just need attention. I need some quality time. So
a lot of times you like attention.
I do like attention. Because she'll be on her phone, and if she's on her phone too much, I'll just start hitting her phone. Or I'll start bugging her, start getting in her way, or something along those lines. Yes. And that's just one of mine. That's just one of them.
Yes. Yes. And so when the conversation was like, oh, well, my love language is this or my love language is that, it's more so of, where am I right now in my life? You know, because just like Justin mentioned, if, you know, we're so busy and we're just moving and going and going and going and going, and we don't get a chance or an opportunity to kind of get to a place of being still, of having that intentional time, then our relationship as a whole is being deprived of quality time.
Right.
And even though my love language may be giving gifts, if I have not received any time with my husband and months and things are going by, you know, then I'm going to shift that. No, my love language has now evolved. It has now changed to quality time because I want some time with you.
But the problem that I see in that a lot of times, or the conversations that we have with other couples, is leaving it up in the air for your person to guess what your love language is this month.
Yes. Yes.
Typically what I do is I read the room once again. Mm-hmm. Reading the room, I know that when Crystal is behaving certain ways, I'm like, oh, shoot. She need quality time. Let me stop doing what I'm doing. She may even say it. Or maybe I'm listening to her. She's on Amazon, which she does a lot. She's on Amazon scrolling. Ooh, babe, look at this. So she'll show me what she wants.
Yes.
And I say, okay, now her love language is gift giving.
Yeah.
And then there's times when you are all up underneath me. I'm like, okay, now she wants physical touch.
Yes.
So it's really being intentional and knowing exactly what your wife's love language is at that moment. What is it that she's going through? What emotions or what is it that she's projecting? And I'll respond to that. Then you have people that don't necessarily, because they're still growing in that, they don't know what their wife's love language is. They don't know what their husband's love language is, or they don't know what they're projecting.
Yes.
So oftentimes the opposite get upset because they're not getting the hints or the signs per se.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? We just have to also break this, like the hints, the culture of.
You don't know what's wrong with me?
Yeah,
you don't know what's wrong with me?
You're not feeling what I'm pulling out. You're not getting it. No. When you listen,
especially when you're growing.
When you're grown. Oh my gosh, when you're growing, when you're engaged, when you're dating, when you're married, you're leading up to learning a person, understanding their shifts and what they're needed, and in the same aspect of me learning. You're also being taught. So you have to tell me what you want and what you need. And if you find yourself where you don't know, now there are like little tests and things like that online you can take to find out what your love language is. But more importantly, take care of all of those, all 5 of the predominantly expressed love languages, because obviously they break down into a lot more. But if you are not just so focused on, oh, my spouse doesn't like physical touch, so I'm only going to give quality time, then you're still doing that person a disservice and they don't even realize it.
Another thing that I see a lot, especially when it comes to Mrs. Beard.
When it comes to me, what?
You don't like public physical touch.
Well, I'm growing in that. I am. Like we,
Because you ain't got no choice. I'm going to grab.
I don't like kissing in public. It's just something about it. It just make me uncomfortable.
She didn't like kissing at our wedding. When they say you may not kiss a bride, she gave me this little grandma kiss. I was like, what? Man, no weak kiss. We about to be married. This is what man, come on.
First of all, it's just weird. Like, I just think it's just weird. I don't want people watching me kiss. Like, that is so weird.
And it's like tongue. I'm talking about just give me a...
No, you be trying to suck my face in front of people. And I think you do it because it just makes me cringe. But as far as physical touch in public, I've gotten so much better about that.
You have gotten better.
I've gotten really a lot better.
Sometimes I'll be like, all right, it be hot. I don't like when you do it when it's hot.
Yeah.
Like in the summertime, physical touch, love language. Physical touch, love language in the summertime, it's a no-go for me.
So wait, so what do you say? So what would we tell a couple or a person that's saying my spouse doesn't like physical touch, right? Doesn't like physical touch, but I do. I love physical touch because that was our dynamic for a while, You
gotta talk to them. You gotta tell them.
Yeah.
You gotta tell them. Listen, it's been a minute. You ain't touched the kid. You know what I mean? You ain't touched me in a while. So, but that's kind of weird coming from a man. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It can be uncomfortable for a man to say, I guess it depends on the conversation. But a lot of men don't know how to conversate with another, woman on that level. But when I can't, most men can't say, man, baby, it's been a minute since you gave me a gift. Like that's just a weird conversation.
Yeah.
How do you package that conversation? How would you share that?
I mean, honestly, those are the hard conversations that sometimes you just have to have because people, if you notice that there's a pattern of, I'm not getting any gifts and I love gifts and I want a gift. You know what I mean? You don't want to, it's weird because you don't want to tell a person to get me a gift because then it's like, you didn't get it for me because you thought of it. You got it for me because I told you. And that's uncomfortable. But at the same time, if you know that you're with a person that doesn't typically give gifts, that person that you've decided to partner with may need reminders. You're going to have to give that. That is what you signed up for, is to help cultivate that aspect of the relationship that's lacking.
Throw hints. Send them a screenshot.
No.
Send them a screenshot. What you mean? Just
well, I mean, that can work sometimes. What you
like about this? You got to subliminally. You can do some subliminal stuff. Yeah. So if I send you, because you do it a lot.
I do.
You send me pictures and say, "Ooh, this is cute. What you think about this?" That's your love language. Like I said, you got to be intentional. You're intentional with that. "Ooh, I like this. What you think about this?" Yeah. Or you'll say, this perfume. Ooh, this is exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Just in case this is my favorite perfume.
Yes.
I ran out,
Yes, because I don't want you getting me something that I don't like. And then I'm like, oh, he got me a gift, but I don't like it. No, I want you to make sure that you get me Versace Dylan Blue. That's my favorite perfume.
What does acts of service look like to you? And the reason why I ask because that's one that's like, for me, I don't necessarily understand the acts of service.
Well, acts of service for me, and not just for me, but I'm pretty sure people, well, acts of service, that could be opening the door, or that's also, you may go and do the dishes after dinner because I know that you don't do dishes. And so an act of service, maybe, babe, I'll go ahead and knock those dishes out for you.
I've been doing a lot of dishes lately.
I'm
just letting you know that right now. I'm trying to see what that's going to reciprocate, because I've been doing a lot of dishes. Kids ain't been doing what they supposed to be doing.
Acts of service, that is a good one. But ultimately, what you were saying in that conversation that was missed, that we want to make sure that you guys hear, is don't get so caught up in what's my love language, what's her love language. As you're growing and as you are learning each other, you need to make sure that you are being cognizant, that you're aware, and that you're keeping up with catering to all 5 of those love languages. Because if you're catering to all 5 of them, then one is not deprived, and it just flows. It just flows so much easier. So yeah, that's what.
In that sense, what I've realized, because of our level of communication, it makes marriage it makes marriage fun.
Yeah.
It makes marriage a lot easier.
Yeah.
When you'll hear us talk about communication a lot. There's so many different ways of communication. Body language, once again, is a form of communication. When you do get that quality time doesn't necessarily always mean we have to talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes quality time is just, let's just sit in quiet. Let's read a book. We're in the same space together. Yeah. You're allowing me to enter into your world. I'm allowing you to enter into my world. Sometimes it does require conversation, but there's just so many dynamics of communication, and it's especially if you haven't been raised to communicate or know how to communicate. It's important to show patience with the individual that you're with, that they can communicate, they feel comfortable to communicate. Because there was a time where it was very difficult for us to communicate, because I didn't know how to communicate with you.
Yes.
I didn't know what was going to set you off. I didn't know if you were mature enough to handle the type of communication or the type of conversation that I wanted to have with you. Vice versa. It took you a while to figure out, okay, is this going to tick him off, or, I want to have this communication. So there's so many different levels of communication that you want to be intentional and at least have a baseline of what that looks like.
Yes. And all of the primary love languages that we're discussing, from the acts of service to the gift giving to the words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch, are all means of communication. And one of the scriptures that came to mind when we were kind of reviewing what we were going to talk about is in Ephesians. And it says, it's Ephesians 4:29, and it says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth." And so in the beginning of that scripture, naturally we're thinking your words of affirmation is one of the love languages that I would attach to that. But if all 5 of those love languages are forms of communication, and me communicating with you is me trying to make sure that I'm not doing it corruptly, in response to Ephesians 4:29, even in my acts of service. And if I've just finished cooking dinner and you go and you wash the dishes for me, that's a form of you communicating, babe, I want to help you out. I want to ease whatever, this portion of this burden that you're going to take on today. I want to ease that. So you are now communicating to me, not out of corruption, not out of going and piling dishes on, not being thankful for the meal, expecting me to cater to you in the bedroom, but you've now acknowledged, let me just help a little bit, and it would do so much more, because I know you don't like washing dishes. So now I'm seeing you're being self-aware, I'm being self-aware, and we're appreciating each other, which is an amazing form of communication.
And it's a form of foreplay. My last episode, foreplay, it's a form of foreplay. So
yes,
definitely tap into that, get familiar with the love languages, acts of service, gift giving, words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch. Get familiar with that.
Yeah.
Therefore, you'll be able to be more intentional and identify those things when she's lacking that or when he's lacking that. And it does great wonders in the relationship. Trust me.
It does. Now, let me say this too, because the love language that I'm excited about all of them because all of them are important. One that I really love is obviously gifts and quality time. I love all of them, really. But I just want to say this, because when you're with someone and the love languages that sticks out more for them is gifts, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and break the bank trying to keep up with giving your spouse gifts. Because gifts can also tie into some of those other love languages, just like we said, acts of service. But because I do like receiving gifts, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and buy me this $3,000, jacket or whatever it is to break the bank. Small gestures. One of the things that you used to do, and
used to.
You used to do it.
See, look, yeah. I'm listening. I picked up on it.
Well, no, listen. I only say used to because it was during a time when we just didn't really have a lot. So those small little gestures, even now, if it happened today, I would still cherish it because I know that it was from your heart. And he would, and this is back in the day, y'all. So some of our pictures of some really cool moments that we would have that were significant, he would go to, I think it's like a Walgreens or a CVS, and have the picture developed, buy a cute little picture frame, and he would put it in like a gift bag with something else that was sentimental. And this specific time, I remember it was like a iguana looking thing.
A lizard.
A lizard.
It was a toy lizard.
Yes. And it's because I'm deathly afraid of them. And he had this huge one and I almost jumped off a balcony. It was a whole thing.
So when I first had it over to the house, I had a bearded dragon.
And
I didn't know she was terrified. I didn't know she was scared of, this is her first time at my house. So I bought the bearded dragon out and she almost jumped off the balcony. She had 1 foot over.
And I'm afraid of heights.
So we're on the 3rd floor. She got 1 foot over the balcony and said, get that thing away from me. And I ain't throw it on her.
No, but what he did is he had a picture from that time. And then he had that on there because it reminded of a fear, but that he would always be there to take care of me. And he wouldn't do something that would put me in fear. And that was it was a small gift, but it meant so much. So I said that to say, if you are with someone that loves gifts, it's in the gift. You want to make sure it's something that they will like, but more so it is in the thought behind it. It is in the being intentional, So that's why it's also just important not to harp on just one love language, but all 5. Keep it balanced.
And this is perfect. Why you should join our Facebook group. Yes. Called the TMJR Conversations. Because in that, we need to communicate. Some of the things that I'll give you some tips and some ideas of what I did to woo. I guess it's a woo my girl. You know what I'm saying? My wife is a woo. Yeah. Some of the things that we all can communicate. Just give some ideas because sometimes it can be tough, especially if you're not naturally that person.
Yeah.
So in the group we talk about those things. We could talk about some of the gifts, some of the ideas that you could do.
Yeah.
And just the other love languages that we're able to
things that if you're with someone that doesn't like physical touch, you can come and we can chat about some ideas to do to kind of, if you're the person that knows you're not into physical touch, but your spouse is, you have to be self-aware that I'm not into it, but my spouse is, and I'm going to be selfless and engage in physical touch because that is a huge, huge, huge barrier. If you just decide, I'm not that person, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Where are you going? Where you're not going to be touching me? You know, you have to do that. So joining the Facebook group is important to have that accountability and people like you.
Also in that, I want to just share too, when you do receive that love language that you desire, acknowledge it.
Yes.
Acknowledge it. Because if you acknowledge it, as a man, it's like, yeah, I did that. It's a little ego stroke. I did that. Oh, she liked that? Yeah, you know, we need that. We need that, and vice versa. If it's something that you don't necessarily like, still show appreciation for it, you know. But later on down the road, you might want to say, you know, for instance, Crystal used to didn't like flowers. She's starting to like flowers now.
I do like them now.
It's starting to shift now. But before she didn't like flowers. I didn't know in the beginning, but then I saw that the next day they in the garbage. I'm like, dang, she ain't really appreciate these flowers.
It wasn't the next day.
So then I had to start, one thing I do know she liked is shoes. So the boy had to get his shoe game up. So now, you see what I'm talking about? Flowers, $64, shoes, $300. You know what I'm saying? I had to start working. I'm just playing.
Anyway. Okay, so we would love to hear from you. Keep the discussion going about the 5 love languages that we discussed today. Give us some feedback. Let us know, how has your love languages shifted, changed? Is there one that you want to hear more about? Be sure to like, comment, share this, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are being kept up to date on all things The Marriage Journal Revealed.
And most importantly, go to themarriagejournalrevealed.com. We really, genuinely want to connect with you. We want to build with you. We're building a community. This isn't just for us. This isn't us just, we have this platform, we want to share our experiences, obviously, but we want to hear your experiences in these groups, in these chats, when you connect with us on the newsletters. We got some big things coming. Your testimony and what you've been through, what you've overcome is going to bless somebody else that we can't necessarily reach. So it's important that we connect and we build this thing together. So make sure you go to themarriagejournalrevealed.com and subscribe to our newsletter. It's very important.
All right. Till next time. See y'all later.
Peace.